Përshëndetje të shikues të nderuar. Jeni edhe me një edicion të emisionit në Fokus, kuftojmë personalitete publike për të diskutuar rreth zhvillimeve politike, ekonomike në vend. Sonte kam nderin që para jush të prezantoj një ambasadore amerikane, një luftëtare denj për të drejtat e grave dhe përfaqësimin e grave në jetën publike në Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës, ambasadoren Constance Morella. Zonja Morella, mirë se erdhët në këtë emision.
It's a pleasure.
Zonja Morella, keni qëndruar në Tetov. Cilat janë përshtypjet tuaja të para që doni t'i ndani me ne gjatë qëndrimit tuaj në Tetov? Si e vlerësoni debatin? Për çka interesoheshin më së shumë tetovarët?
Tetova is a beautiful place. I am very impressed with the beautiful mountains and the hills and the agricultural facilities that you have. I visited the university and I saw a great pasture of apple trees that are really quite beautiful, which shows the fertility of Tetovo. I went to the Painted Mosque, had an opportunity to tour it. I went to the, I guess it's sort of a city museum of historic entities that I know the Ambassadors Fund has helped with the Tetovo to finance. I appreciated its location, its history, and you've had some good eating places too. Now, if you want to know anything more, I have also met with women candidates for council and for mayoral posts in this next election. I am mightily impressed by their enthusiasm, by their strength, and really we saw there what I hope we will see in the Macedonian parliament, and that is the desire to work together. Now they have an uphill fight, but I told them that they should have confidence in themselves and work knowing that they have a message to convey and to show the people how they're going to be able to resolve that message and accomplish something. So that was pretty upbeat. And then I went to the university. And at the university, it was all in English, pretty outstanding, their understanding of many languages, and particularly English. And I shared with them not only congressional experiences, but experiences diplomatically at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in Paris, where I served as an ambassador. So, and now here I am with you at the American corner, again, appreciating the connection between the United States and Macedonia.
Si të ju përmendet disa çështje politike që janë aktuale në Maqedoni, po si do e vlerësoni situatën politike në Maqedoni? Çfarë perceptimi kanë personalitetet publike të politikbërjes në Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës për këtë shtet, për Maqedoni?
I'm going to be the diplomat, and I'm going to say these are situations that Macedonia must resolve, and the United States should not interfere. And so we are not going to interfere. But I would certainly like to see a resolution, because I really am hoping that Macedonia will become a member of the European Union and NATO. And I must say, they have been a rather stable economy, showing some signs of growth. And the United States feels very strongly that Macedonia is a strategic partner of the United States, and we want to do all that we can, we're trying all that we can to enforce that. I must say, I have been very fortunate to be staying at the residence of our U.S. ambassador, and Paul Wohlers and his wife are very dedicated to Macedonia, and they have a darn good post of people who, again, really like the country, like the people, and really do want to serve both the United States and Macedonia. So I would say a lot of eyes are on you, and I hope that you can resolve the situation.
Gjatë përshkrimit të CV-së suaj në fillim, thash se keni qenë një luftëtare, ashtu në thojza them, për përfaqësimin e grave në jetën publike në Shtetet e Bashkuara të Amerikës, për postet publike. Sa të rëndësishme kanë qenë lëvizjet e grave në karrierën tuaj?
Well, I must say I was an educator, taught at a community college, which gave opportunities for people to get more training in their skills and people to start college, people who didn't know what they wanted to do. So education is something I've always valued. I became involved with the women's movement when I was on a commission looking at the status of women in education, in credit, in the economy, and in housing and employment. And that's where I saw great disparities. Great disparities. We were just not utilizing 52% of the human power that would come from women. And so that's what began my really deep interest in doing what I could to bring up equity, which I think enhances a society. I think every time a woman is elevated, all women are elevated, and society is richer for it. And so that began it. And so I continued to be involved with women's issues. Sometimes people would say, when I was asking for their vote, "Are you running as a woman?" And I'd say, "Well, I don't think I can run as a man." So
Gjatë 16 viteve në dhomën e përfaqësuesve, keni fituar një reputacion si një udhëheqëse në përpjekje për të nxitur rritjen ekonomike dhe keni qenë një avokate kryesore për gratë. A keni qenë të kënaqur me punën tuaj apo çdo herë mund të bëhet edhe më shumë?
Well, of course, there's always more to be done. But yes, I served also for 8 years in my Maryland legislature before I went to Congress for 16 years. And yes, I'm very happy that I had legislation that dealt with federal technology transfer. I represented a very scientific area, had the National Institutes of Health, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the Food and Drug Administration, and a lot of other institutions that dealt with scientific research. So certainly these were issues I worked on. I had a lot of people who worked for the federal government and foreign service people, and I worked on those issues, and obviously believing that women do uphold half the world, then women's issues were always part of it. So the Violence Against Women Act is one I'm very proud of, tremendous bill. The Office of Research on Women's Health, something called Title IX to our Civil Rights Act, which opened opportunities for women in sports, in higher education. So I'm very proud of some of our achievements, but do we need to do more? We certainly do. And so I try to convey to younger people that elective office and diplomacy are two very noble areas.
Gjithmonë keni patur debate mjaft të rëndësishme me studentët tuaj. U keni parashtruar edhe një pyetje studentëve tuaj që të hulumtojnë 4 anëtare femra të Kongresit në të kaluarën dhe të tashmen. Nëse këtë pyetje e parashtronit në vitin 1954, cili do ishte rezultati?
You've done a lot of research on my life. You even knew the research paper that I had my students do. Well, if I had to go back to 1954, I would first of all say recognition should be paid to the very first woman who was in the House of Representatives, and that was Jeanette Rankin. And the reason is twofold. First of all, she was from the state of Montana, which had rights for women could vote before they could in the entire country. And so she was elected before women had the right to vote, except in her state of Montana. Secondly, she voted against the First World War, and then she went out of Congress because she ran for the Senate, and then she ran again for Congress and was elected to Congress, and she voted against the Second World War. So she was the only person in Congress to do that. So here she was, the first woman elected to Congress before women could vote, and she voted against 2 world wars. Quite unique. But I would say if you looked at the number of women who served before 1954, many of them are what I would call placeholders for their late husband's seat, because many of them were in Congress because their husband was in Congress and died, and they then took over that seat, and then maybe were re-elected or maybe just stayed for that one time. But that was kind of the tradition, and then the tradition changed, fortunately.
Dhe për këtu vetë u lindte edhe pyetja, Sa kanë njohuri amerikanët për Janet Rankin? Sa ju ka inspiruar ajo?
I try to teach them that, and I think it's good for them to know. Do I think most Americans know that? No, I don't. But you know, we have in the Capitol and in the Capitol Visitors Center, which is really part of the Capitol, we have Statuary Hall, and in the Statuary Hall, every state could give 2 statues of 2 famous people from their state. Jeanette Rankin is one of the statues, and because there aren't that many women's statues, unfortunately, it's pointed out to most people who will visit the Congress. So I think more people know about her than may know about a lot of other members of Congress, but certainly not everybody does. She was gutsy, that's why I liked her. She had guts, yeah.
Pse më shumë gra nuk kandidohen për poste politike?
More women don't run, unfortunately, for a lot of reasons. First of all, and what I tried to tell the women that I've met here, is they need confidence in themselves. They need to know they can do it and not feel that this is something that must be left up to the men who have the confidence. And secondly, I think in the United States, they're concerned about the money it takes. Unfortunately, it takes too much money to run. And thirdly, they have concerns about their families. And fourthly, and certainly in the United States, some of the rhetoric that is used in campaign ads is pretty nasty. And so they think, I don't want my family exposed to it. But you have to have a thick skin, and you have to have a determination that what you want to do is going to help your community and help your country, and take chances. But you also need, that women have been lacking, you need encouragement from others. You need support from others. You need your political party and your friends and organizations, maybe the non-governmental organizations, to encourage you to run.
Signora Morella, keni njohuri si e vlerësoni rolin e femrës shqiptare në funksionet publike? A keni njohuri rreth kësaj çështje?
Well, you know, my maiden name is Albanese. Albanese, yes. My parents came from Italy, from southern Italy. And my understanding is that probably like 400 years ago, there was an influx from Albania that went to Italy. But certainly, from your question, there are Albanian women who are holding some high positions. And that's pretty impressive here in Macedonia. And I've met with a number of the members of parliament who are the ethnic Albanian, and I've met with some of the ethnic Albanians here who are running for council seats, and I am very impressed with their enthusiasm, their knowledge, their desire to represent a community, and quite frankly, their youth. I found a lot of them quite young, yeah.